At the start of 2024, my X account had less than 100 followers and no clear direction. Now, 9 months later, I have passed 1,000 followers, and I've done so without paid promotion, giveaways, or a lead magnet. In this video, I'm going to share the 5-step process I followed so you can get to 1,000 followers much faster than I did. The first thing I did was just start posting. I hadn't nailed down my niche yet, so I just started talking about various things I was interested in, such as my faceless Instagram pages, this YouTube channel, personal development, fitness, and other topics. And I really didn't see much engagement at the start, but I committed to post at least once every day and paid attention to what worked. Then, as this YouTube channel was growing, I started getting DMs about the videos I was making. So I was getting questions about shadow bans, revenue pauses, and other issues related to X monetization. So I decided to post more about X and less about other things. And as I narrowed my focus, things started to pick up. So I knew I had found my niche. With my niche now figured out, then it was time to optimize my profile. So I already had a clean professional profile picture and was subscribed to X Premium, but my bio and my cover photo evolved over time as I figured out my niche. So you'll see from these screenshots that it started out pretty broad and then gradually got more specific. And to be honest, I didn't really want to be this specific. I have way more experience with faceless Instagram pages and YouTube channels, and I wanted to talk more about that. But my content about X was working the best, so after about 4 or 5 months of avoiding it, I finally doubled down on X and leaned into that as my niche. And this is what I would recommend to anyone just starting out. People don't care about you at the start. When you only have a couple hundred followers, you can't just talk about whatever you want because you don't have credibility. So I recommend niching down and focusing on one specific topic for one specific audience. And then once you've built some authority and built a little bit of a following, then you can start to expand to adjacent topics. I didn't want to accept this at first, so my content was all over the place. And as a result, less people followed me because they didn't know what to expect from me. Getting hyper specific on the problem I was solving for my audience made a huge difference. With my profile now optimized, I was ready for the next step, which is networking with other accounts. There were a few parts to my networking strategy, the first of which involved replying to big accounts. So I would pick a handful of big accounts that shared my interests, turn notifications on, and then leave a relevant comment as soon as they posted. And the awareness I generated from this was usually pretty broad and didn't always lead to anything, but on occasion, I would have a reply that would get a ton of engagement and I would get a lot of exposure from that. The second part of my networking strategy was interacting with smaller accounts. So as I replied to these big accounts, I would pay attention to which other accounts were in the reply section all the time, and I started engaging with them as well. And what I found is that these smaller accounts were much more likely to reciprocate my engagement. So I gained a lot of followers by replying to these accounts and following them. As I found smaller accounts that I liked, I added those to a list and would reply to them every day as well. And the longer I played the game, the more I realized that in order to get engagement, I had to give engagement. And in order to get follows, I needed to follow other people. This was one of my biggest mistakes early on that slowed down my growth. Once I started freely engaging with other accounts, my own account grew a lot faster. This is also why it was important to optimize my profile, because as I followed and engaged with these other accounts, it drove a lot of traffic to my profile, and then people would decide whether to follow me or not based on what they saw. And my profile picture, bio, and banner were important here, but not nearly as important as my content. Because if you think about it, how often have you followed someone because they had a cool banner? Probably never. You're gonna follow someone because you really resonate with their content. How did I consistently create valuable content? Well, X is a momentum-based platform, so I knew I needed to be posting every day. So I established bare minimums for myself that I had to meet every day. So that was at least one post a day, replying to every comment on that post, and then spending 30 minutes replying to other accounts. These bare minimums helped me stay consistent and build momentum. It was also helpful to set a schedule for myself. So I would make sure to meet all three of these bare minimums every morning before I went to work. And once I fully committed to this, my growth was pretty steady. Of course, there were down weeks and slow periods, but if you look at my progress over the last 9 months as a whole, the graph is up and to the right. And honestly, staying consistent was the hardest part. My story is not like some creators who just immediately start an account and blow up. It took me 7 months of consistent effort to just pass 1,000. There were weeks at a time where it felt like no matter what I posted or how many replies I sent, I just couldn't grow. Because I don't have a big personality, I had to compensate with extra focus, consistency, and persistence. And if someone as ordinary as I can do it, anyone can. You just have to stay consistent for long enough. And staying consistent is also important if you're trying to monetize your X account. If you're interested in learning how to do that, watch this video here.